From avoiding objects to modifying matter and attracting your desired reality, vibration is the master key to altering reality, and not knowing how to vibrate correctly is costing you time and effort. In this video, I will show you the 3 key elements to master your vibration and communicate the correct message to the universe. Welcome to the Being of Knowledge. The first key starts with a bizarre story. In 1898, Nikola Tesla created a machine that changed the perception of vibration forever. This machine would be known as the Tesla oscillator, or the earthquake machine. This was a device that could produce mechanical vibrations and gained a lot of notoriety for what it was capable of doing. The general concept of this machine was resonance. Tesla believed that if he could get the exact frequency of an object, he could adjust his machine to this same frequency and control the object. Now, legend has it that Tesla adjusted his machine to the primary frequency of the building where he lived, and this made the entire building vibrate at the same time. The device was not just a machine, but a machine that could vibrate to make its inhabitants believe that an earthquake was happening. And it was not until years later that he admitted that it had been him. When he did this, a journalist asked him, "Mr. Tesla, then, what would be needed to, let's say, collapse the Empire State Building?" His answer, "The vibration would do everything. It would only be necessary to adjust the vibration of the machine so that it coincides with the natural vibration of the building." And this reveals the first key that I want to share with you. Everything that exists has a natural, primordial frequency or a specific vibration. From the galaxies to each of your cells and the atoms that make them up, everything has a primordial and natural frequency, as well as a vibrational fingerprint. You, at this moment, have your own natural frequency, your own unique vibrational signature, expanding. And what determines this frequency that you emit are your thoughts, emotions, and intentions. Now, pay attention to this, because it will make sense to you later. If everything has a unique frequency, and according to quantum physics, all possible realities exist here and now as pure potentiality in the quantum field, this means that the version of you that lives the reality that you desire has a unique frequency. It emits its own vibrational signature. In other words, your thoughts, emotions, and intentions are different from yours. What a conscious creator of your reality does is alter its own vibrational frequency so that it coincides with that of the reality you want to manifest. And this leads us to the next key. Has it ever happened to you that you meet someone and in a few seconds you feel like they know each other for life? Do you feel in tune with this person? Or also when you arrive at a place and you feel that something bothers you and you want to leave? This happens because unconsciously, we are able to perceive if we resonate or not with other vibrations. We already know that everything has a natural frequency, but something great happens when a natural vibration of an object coincides with another vibration. When this happens, both objects come into resonance. For example, if I have 2 instruments tuned in LA, if I make an instrument sound and emit its vibration, this frequency will activate the natural vibration of the other object, making it come into resonance, making it vibrate. For us to go from this reality to the reality we want, imagine that we must start emitting this vibration. And as we move in time and space, we will be resonating and creating dissonance with different things. And this will guide us to this new reality we want. But to do this, to emit this frequency of the reality we want, we must understand a law of physics. This law of physics is called constructive interference, which says that when 2 waves of the same length meet, they double in size. Think of the following. If each thought, emotion, and intention that we have has a specific frequency, what do you think would happen if you adjust each of these vibrations to the same frequency? These, being of the same wavelength, would amplify, emitting a signal much more powerful to the universe. And this, sadly, is the riddle that the majority cannot solve. The majority of people cannot align the frequency that their thoughts emit with that of their emotions. And instead of creating constructive interference between what they think and feel, resonance and amplifying the signal, what they get is to create dissonance, destructive interference. For this reason, the signal they send to the universe is weak. It is confusing, and this is what they end up attracting. But if you're able to align and create constructive interference between your thoughts, emotions, and desires, what will happen is that these waves of the same frequency will meet. They will double in size, and the signal you emit to the universe will be much more powerful. Moreover, it will not only be more powerful, but it will be a much clearer and more understandable message for the universe. Imagine this. Imagine that when you are in dissonance of mind and emotion, it is like throwing a lot of pebbles into a lake. Each of them creates small waves, and then they create confusing patterns. Well, when you create resonance and constructive interference between your thoughts and your emotions, it is as if you were throwing a giant rock into this lake. The waves would be much bigger and would create a single clear pattern, a much more coherent and understandable pattern. This is why the second key is to create constructive interference between our thoughts and emotions in order to send a clear and powerful message to the universe. And this takes us to the last point. How do we do this? To achieve constructive interference between our thoughts and emotions, we must master 3 things. The first is that you learn to teach your brain how the person who lives this reality that you desire thinks. The second is that you teach your body how this person who lives this reality feels. This is the reality that you want to live. Just as a footballer trains to develop his skills and through repetition dominates the skill, your job is to teach and train your brain to think like this person. Train and teach your body how it feels. What are the emotions this person experiences? All this through repetition, as if you were training for a sport. And finally, the third thing you must master is what Napoleon Hill called the law of the hypnotic rhythm. Have you ever heard the phrase that says, "There where your attention goes, there goes your energy"? Well, now I'm going to explain it to you in a way you've never understood before. It all starts with a stimulus. This stimulus comes from outside. Your senses, when perceiving this stimulus, transform this signal into electrical signal. And this electrical signal travels to your brain. Then, in your brain, a cognition occurs. Your brain analyzes this information and says, okay, this is an auditory signal, you go there. This is visual signal, you go there. After this cognition in your brain, there is a bank of reactions assigned for each stimulus, and that is the next step of this cycle. After cognition, a reaction occurs. This reaction, imagine that these are neurons and a series of patterns and neural pathways that have been formed. Throughout time, throughout life, you have been creating these neural patterns in your head, in your brain. Your brain, when cognition occurs, goes to its bank of predetermined reactions and chooses the most appropriate based on the stimulus. Okay? After this reaction, an action occurs. Let's give an example. Imagine that the stimulus is that you get an invoice. Okay? When you see this invoice, cognition occurs. You perceive all this, and then the predetermined reaction in your brain is, shit, how am I going to do to pay for this? I don't have money. I'm short of money. You start to sweat. To this conditioned response in your mind, you take your energy to this place, and you continue to reinforce more and more these patterns and these responses, reactions automatic and unconscious. Then, what is your action? You decide, I don't know. You decide to sell the camera that you like so much to buy and start your YouTube channel. You decide to sell it. You decide to take this action. What happens? That after this action, a result occurs. You stay thinking, wow, you stay without a camera. Yes, you manage to pay the bill, but then you no longer have how to start your YouTube channel. Then you feel more depressed because you have to start gather again for many months. This result then becomes a stimulus. It becomes a stimulus of I don't have money, for example. I don't have money. Okay? And then the same cycle is repeated. The cognition, your reaction is to continue focusing on reactive thoughts, and you repeat this cycle over and over again. And that's why Napoleon Hill called this the law of the hypnotic rhythm. Because like a rhythm, like a hypnotic cycle, it is repeated over and over again, and we can't break with this kind of hypnosis in which we are. Okay, now I'm going to explain to you how you can do to break with this. Okay, remember, where your attention goes, there goes your energy. Okay, what does this mean? What we want to do to break with this hypnotic rhythm is to take awareness here, in the reaction from the stimulus to the cognition and the reaction. All this is an automatic unconscious process. We can't control it. Okay, this series of neural patterns and preconditioned automatic responses are already recorded in our mind, and that makes this happen automatically. Your brain always looks for efficiency. What we want is to take awareness here in the reaction. Only if you take awareness here in the reaction can choose to stop paying attention to these predetermined conditioning patterns in your brain. Only by taking awareness of your reaction can you realize this automatic pattern and say, this is the process that I am feeding. I'm vibrating like the person I've always been. You see how everything makes sense now when you take awareness here in the reaction and say, okay, this is the pattern that has been happening. Then you can ask yourself, okay, how would this person who lives the reality that I want to live think? How would this person who lives this reality that I want to live react? What's going to happen there is something magical. You're going to start installing a new pattern of neural connections in your mind. You're going to start thinking differently. You have the option to think like this person, like the vibrational quality that you want to attract to your life. When you start doing this over and over again, you're going to start thinking differently. You're going to start thinking differently. Like a football player. Training. You're starting to train your mind. You're starting to train your brain to vibrate and think differently, in a way like the person who lives this reality. In a short time, you will see that you begin to take different actions. Instead of selling this, instead of selling the other, you decide to trust and you say, okay, somehow this will be resolved. And this same trust makes you interact differently with people. And you get a loan or they pay you something they owe you. You never know how or what things can happen in the universe. So when you start repeating this, your vibrational pattern will start to change. You will start to think and feel like a different person, like this person. The result is that little by little, you will move from this reality to another reality, to the reality that you want. As you do this, you will change your predominant vibration. You will change your natural frequency of this reality to that of the person who lives the reality that you want to live. And in time, inevitably, your own vibration will take you out of the life, from the reality that you live, and will put you in another place. And I tell you this because later on I will tell you why. I have seen it happen too much. I saw how it happened in my life, how this change of vibration is, applying the principles that I explained to you. It took me out of the reality where I was and led me to live a completely different reality. I've seen how it happened to my partner. I've seen how it happens to my clients. And this is what I want for you. If you would like to learn to gain mental and emotional clarity and become a conscious creator of your reality, then simply apply to join my coaching program in the links below. I send you a lot of love, and may all this be useful to you. Thank you.